Hi, I'm Kim Solez, and for a very long time now, I've been in charge of NKF cyberNephrology, which began in 1997. And the purpose of this video is that all of the extensive web content from cyberNephrology was taken down in late 2022. I have an archive of it all, so nothing was lost. And we're trying to figure out what portion of that content other people would be interested in and what portion should be put up on new websites with more modern functionality. So I'm going to go through here a range of websites from the archive to give you an idea of the spectrum that goes from things that are primarily of sightseeing interest to things that are of important scientific interest. And and you might be somebody who's in some of the pictures in the cyberNephrology archive, and you may have an interest either in personally receiving the pictures or in us putting some of the material back up on an active website. So if that's true, please let me know. How did it all begin? It began with this website from September 4th, 1997. The travels of Dr. Solez, sightseeing in Zimbabwe and South Africa with Drs. Barsoom, Brenner, and Dirks, and my son, Kevin Solez. So this is an example of something that is primarily sightseeing. And you can see what it looks like. So that was then part of a meeting, a trip for a meeting in Durban, South Africa. And so the next thing I'm going to show you are those pictures from that meeting in Durban, South Africa. You'll notice some of this is from Cape Town, South Africa, and also the town of Fishhook, where my son and I spent some time. Okay, so now let's see what else we've got here. Yeah, so this is the main site for the meeting. Joint Congress of the African Association of Nephrology, South African Renal Society, Renal Care Society of South Africa, and the International Society of Nephrology, which was strongly represented at that meeting. And see many, many pictures here of Bob Schreier, for instance. Okay, so this is the opening ceremony with Sarala Niker. But you can see that there's no scientific content, really. This is the gala dinner. It's held there. So, see Dr. Schreier here. He and I were at the same table. This is a little picture of me and my son and some of the young people that he met there. Randall, Amina, and Norin. So if Randall, Amina, or Norin are interested, get you this picture. Yeah. Now, the closest we come to scientific content is this session on economics, economy and renal health care, but you can see it's still mainly about it as a social event, not much scientific content. Another part of that trip was a visit to Baragwanath Hospital, where Priscilla Kincaid Smith trained. It's one of the biggest trauma hospitals in the world. Very amazing experience you can have working at that hospital. And here are the pictures that I took at Baragwanath Hospital. Okay, let's just see what else we've got. So that will give you the idea of one kind of meeting. But what I'm now going to do is go to the actual archive itself. Here you can see what the archive looks like. So what I've been showing you is here, African Congress, so on, and Baragwanath. What I'm now going to show you for another kind of experience is the Africa. So this is a meeting in Nairobi, Kenya in the year 2000. And you can see it has an extraordinary amount of scientific content. So it's completely different from that South Africa website, which was mainly sightseeing. So let's just see what we've got here. This shows the schedule for the conference. Shows the headquarter hotel and the posters for the conference. That's what the hotel looked like. Yeah, and here are some of the people that I met there, including Salma Suleiman. She and I became good friends. Okay, moving on then, here is the laboratory at Aga Khan Hospital. Won't show you all the pictures, but they're quite detailed, showing what that laboratory was like, and the people working in it. Okay, tour of the private patient pavilion, radiology, emergency, ICU, and renal unit at Aga Khan Hospital. Signage to it. Yeah. Just give you some idea of the kinds of pictures that we have, but you can see that there are a large number of images, for instance, for the private patient pavilion. Then registration for the course and reception in the exhibit area. Here are some of those images. Now this is the courtyard where I was attacked by a very large bird, the only time I've been attacked in any of my travels. And there's a bird called a kite, K-Y-T-E, that has about an 8-foot wingspan. And in this courtyard, I was walking around with a paper plate with my lunch on it, piece of chicken and so on. And the kite swooped down, made a very rude noise and rubbed its feathers against my face and surgically removed the chicken from my plate. I said, well, what should I do now? And they said, sir, you need to get a new plate. Yeah, so that happened in that courtyard there. Yeah, I won't go through all the pictures, but you get the idea. And again is Solez NKF. This is the telemedicine session, the PowerPoint file, and that PowerPoint file does still function and everything. I don't think I'll show it to you right now, just it's not convenient to do that. Here's the official conference opening and some of the pictures of that. See what we looked like and who was there. So if we wanted, we could put all this up in much more accessible form, and I think I would like to do that for this. But this is just an example. It's probably the best example of a website that has a lot of important scientific content. Now, this has movies of the speakers and so on, quite good movies, actually. That could be put up again, and I do plan to do that. And this is a movie of the Minister of Health speaking. And then the reception in the pavilion courtyard. Dr. Howie. See some of the people there. So what I've learned from my public health colleagues who are working quite actively in Africa is that the people you see here, the locals, are many of them still quite active. So that's kind of cool when you consider that it's 23 years later. Sama Suleiman has very moving videos. So about the use of gum Arabic, but also farther down, she has this video, which I very much like. If you want something to be done, you have to start doing it. So it starts with you. Yeah, so that's one of the most moving moments in that meeting. And she later died in drowning, a capsized boat that was the site of a wedding in Sudan. Yeah, so it was very sad when that happened because she and I did a lot of things together. So we have PowerPoints for some of the presentations, including my own. All those PowerPoints still work. We did a CPC, Clinical Pathologic Conference, with Dr. Howie and me, and the PowerPoints and the images from that. Yeah, there's Dr. Howie. And there he is again. Yeah. And Dr. Wari, I've been in contact with many times, Wari, and he is still quite active in the public health arena and is the main contact for the public health people I know who are doing this Africa initiative. This is my own presentation, cyberNephrology, CPC with Dr. Edu and Dr. Howie, and a movie of the official launch of the Kenya Renal Association. Yeah, so you get the idea there. So I think no matter how you analyze it, there is some content here that would be very valuable to a large number of people. And so therefore we plan to put this site back up. But the other sites, and there are hundreds of websites that we created between 1997 and now, run the full gamut of things that are purely sightseeing and things that are deep, abiding, valuable scientific content. But I'm also interested in what you, the viewer, want in terms of things that you might have been directly involved in. This is the movie of the closing ceremony. And the Aga Khan Hospital CEO Len Hefner's closing statement. Yeah. And the gala dinner was really quite nice with these African cat dancers. Really very high quality entertainment. And this is the QuickTime movie of the dancers. Not bad for 23 years ago. It's a little bit low res by 2023 standards, but still quite good. Yeah. Then this was one of the most moving parts of the trip. With Selma Suleiman, I went to Karen Blixton's home, which is the site of the filming of the movie Out of Africa with Meryl Streep and Robert Redford. And yeah, it was really, really fun. And as we walked around, Selma Suleiman and I had very significant conversations. Here she is. Yeah. And here's some of the wildlife there. Okay, so that's it. And so as we go through this very extensive archive and try to figure out what to do with various parts, we have a copy of the archive on 5 different computers maintained by 4 different people, so we won't lose it. We'll always have everything. So if years from now you remember something where I took a picture of you and you like the picture, it's probably possible for us to provide that. But also in a larger sense, some of these events that were scientifically and medically quite important, we would be happy to spend the time to put them back up on the web in a sort of modern, easily accessible way. Yeah, so that was the purpose of this video, and I look forward to hearing from you. Yeah, so that's it.